Hi, I'm Matt Stansbury, Director of Content and Publications for the Uptime Institute, and I'm here today with Neil Rasmussen, Senior Vice President of Innovation at Schneider Electric, and we're going to be talking about his keynote presentation at Uptime Institute Symposium 2012, a new language for specifying modular data centers. Neil, thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about your vision for how modular data centers should be specified?
Well, clearly I think everybody is circling around the idea that modularity is a good idea, but what gets confusing is understanding what do we mean by that. We have devices in data centers that are modular, like UPSs or air conditioners or power distribution units, and there's also approaches where we take entire data centers and take them into physical modules and put them together. And then there's, where we actually have a entire data center in a box, and you might buy multiples of those to make a data center. So we've got this big span of ideas of what modularity is, yet we don't have a good language for people to have conversations about it and explain how to actually specify it. And what we want to get to is the point where people can have those rational conversations and actually look at essentially data sheets that define what modularity means and what attributes, how we quantify those attributes for modular data centers.
And who do you think should do that specification on how the architectures should be compared or defined?
Well, I think what's going to happen is that vendors of modular data centers will have different approaches, and it'll be people who are customers will need to select among them in some rational way and determine what attributes of modularity are the most suitable for what they're trying to accomplish, and have some rational way of comparing these, whether it's issues of price or performance or what granule of modularity. Should I use little tiny modules or very large modules? And should I, if I want to make sure I'm future-proof, do I have some standards I need to adhere to? All of those things are missing today, in my view, in this industry. But there's a path, I think, where we can get to the point where we can have those conversations.
Great. So today it seems like 451 Research has worked on kind of trying to define it, and they see kind of defining it as, bricks and mortar custom build, bricks and mortar with, prefab components on the power and cooling side, totally prefab, and, to containerize. They see those kind of as the big buckets. Do you see something different from that, or something that needs to be more detailed than that?
Yes, I do, because, of those, certainly all of those different kinds of data centers will exist, but when you start comparing those or different approaches to satisfying one of those particular implementations, say I want to build a bricks and what we think the most common approach is going to be is a bricks and mortar type IT room construct surrounded by more prefabricated power and cooling modules, for example. But when we get to that point, and if we said, now I want to do that, how do I actually compare among the different options and make sure the parts that I've gotten the modularity in the right place? Should my UPS be integrated into the IT room? Should it be pushed out in a power module? How do I deal with the containment and airflow in these kind of architectures? How do we document all that and specify it so we can have conversations about it? That's where advances still need to be made.
Okay, great. Do you think that there's going to be some kind of industry standard around this that's going to be developed, or that it maybe is in development?
I think it will emerge at the moment. I think we're at the stage where there's a lot of evolutionary activity and change going on, which makes it difficult. Eventually, yes, there will be standards. I mean, fortunately, we already have certain standards that have been handed to us that are quite helpful. We have certain standards for voltage. We have certain standards for how power is connected. Cooling is more complicated, but we can envision standards for water piping capacities and sizes and temperature. And we can envision, other kinds of standards, like we have the rack as a standard, the actual rack footprint. These are some of the pieces we can use to build an industry standard around. And those standards may take the form of something like, what we see with the Facebook Open Compute standard, for example.
Great. So, Neil, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Matt.
I look forward to seeing you May 14th through 17th, 2012 at the Santa Clara Convention Center.
We'll be there.